going to look at how I evaluate a domain name, and then we'll look at buying the domain names. And then next week, session 3, we'll look at building a website and beginning to rank that website. And I'll show you how to get it noticed fairly quickly in Google. And from there, we'll continue to rank it, do things to rank it. We'll look at the different styles of websites. And basically, you've got the lead gen website, you have a directory style website. There's 4 or 5 different websites that you can rent all or part of the website out to businesses. Okay, so we'll look at that. And we'll, at the same time, we'll look at using an HTML template versus a non-HTML template, and the different ways you can build a website. And because some of you aren't that techie, or you're busy and you don't want to be doing tedious tasks, we'll look at outsourcing. I have reached out to a number of people that I know who run outsourcing businesses, and also people who have worked for or with me. And I've asked them a lot of questions, and so I will point some outsourcing resources out to you, and those will be vetted. I mean, I will have said these people are okay, and I, at the same time, will ask them. I'll ask them for a discount for my students, so we'll see what happens there. I'll provide you with checklists for your outsourced employees. They're not your employees, they're independent contractors. If they were employees, you'd be responsible for taxes and things like that. So you want to hire independent contractors so that you just pay them and they're responsible for their own paperwork. And we'll discuss outsourcing pitfalls and best practices. I know lots of people who outsource projects, and to them it was a nightmare. So we'll look at how you avoid that. Then in session 4, we'll continue looking at ways to rank your site or sites and make that ranking stick. It's very common for you to get a site in Google, and when it's first there, it's at the very top or maybe somewhere on page 1, and then it bounces around for a week or so, and then it sort of settles down in one spot. So we'll look at how to make sure your page, your site's at the top of Google, and make sure it sticks there, it stays there. I'm not teaching SEO per se, because most of you guys don't want to learn SEO, but we will look at what factors make a web page rank well in the search engines. We'll look at on page, which is what you can do to your site to make it rank high, and off page, which is what you can do on other sites to get your site to move up in the search engines. And we'll look at what makes a site attractive to, well, what makes a site attractive to potential renters is it's at the top of the search engines. You know, if they see your sites on Google on page 1, it's a no for their primary keyword or keywords. We always focus on, okay, so what is the main search term someone's going to type in the search engine when looking for a product or service? And so we want to be number 1 for that, but we also want to rank for as many relevant keywords as practical. But we focus on the main one, and then in fact, we try to get domain names that have exact match. You know, if we were going to go with getting in front of people with transmission problems in Atlanta, we'd want Atlanta Transmission, or Transmissions Atlanta. Atlanta Transmissions is better, and you want a domain name that's an exact match. So when somebody types in Atlanta Transmissions, your site would naturally appear at the top if it was properly optimized, and it would stay there. It would be the first one that shows. We'll discuss that in session 4. Actually, in session 3, we'll look at that too. Session 5, we'll look at how do you identify your ideal tenant, the person that, you know, should really, really, really want to rent your site, and then how do you reach out to them? How do you get their contact information, and what contact information do you need? We'll look at numerous ways of doing that, and then we're looking at all the ways that you should and probably could reach out to them, and there's probably a dozen different ways you can reach out to them, and it's all about getting past or around gatekeepers, for one thing. And then Dan Kennedy used to talk about being perceived as a welcome guest rather than a pest. You know, he's talking about being a salesperson and going to people's doors or whatever, but you know, if people perceive that you honestly have their best interests at heart and they see that you want to help them, that you genuinely want to help them, then there's no reason for them not to want to talk to you. But you're going to be approaching business people who are getting approached every day by people who say they want to help them, but most of them are incompetent or don't deliver the results they promise. And so your business owner is going to be somewhat skeptical. And you have to expect that, and you have to be able to convey effectively that you really do have their best interest at heart and that you really can help them. And being at the top of the search engines is makes it obvious that you know what you're doing, first of all, and that if they get in front of that traffic that you're attracting, they're going to get customers. Session 6, which will be the final scheduled session, we'll look at following up with potential tenants, because not all of them are going to respond right away, and some you'll have to negotiate with. Some won't argue with your price, others will. Then we'll look at how do you get paid, and you want to get paid on autopilot. You want to set up a payment system where they pay via PayPal or direct deposit or whatever, month after month, and you don't have to chase after them. So we'll look at that. And then we'll look at back-end sales. What else can you sell them once they rent your lead generation website? And I discussed that actually in one of the posts in the Facebook group, where one of my friends leads with another service, and then after she gets her foot in the door, then she goes back to them with her primary service. So you can lead with your lead gen site, or you can lead with something else, and then once you gain their trust and show your competence, then you can offer them lead generation or websites or mobile apps or whatever, Google My Business, all kinds of things. So we'll look at that. And I'll also record some supplemental videos. I won't hold a live training session, but I'll record videos that address certain topics, such as where I host and why, ways to cut expenses. We'll look at bookkeeping or record keeping, what are best practices there, because a lot of people that I encounter online have never run a business and don't know how to keep proper records and don't know what's the best system to use. So we'll discuss some of that, and should you be using, a bookkeeper or whatever. Tonight, again, we're going to look at coming up with domain names, evaluating them, and then buying them. Okay. I asked you guys last week to go over and check out citydata.com. That site actually just has a bunch of, it has a lot of census data. And I was going to look at, I own the domain name Old Bridge, shouldn't be an F in there, oldbridgedentist.com. I don't know why I put the F in there, but I'll fix it. So I went over to citydata.com and looked up Old Bridge. Let me come out of this and see if I can copy this and go to that page now. Let's see. There we go. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm going to attempt to show. Now, can you guys see where it says Old Bridge? Well, it's a page on, well, actually, I can see what you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see on your screens this page on city-data.com. Now, this page, when you go there, you first of all at city-data, you go to the top here. When you first log into city-data.com, you would be on this page, and you type in any city you want. So you would type in Old Bridge in this case, and that would bring you to this page. And on this page, it's showing you the population of Old Bridge. It's showing you the population in 2010, and then it's showing you what it projects the population to be now. and it shows you the percentage of male to female, shows you and this city only has like, well, we had 23,000 people in 2010, and they're getting ready to do another census now. But, and that's a fairly small city. I like to target them larger, but I just want to show you, I purchased this domain name, and so I just went ahead and checked it out. It shows you, male versus female. I don't know why that's relevant, really. The median age, like the average person is probably 41, 39.8 and 42. And, well, actually, that's not what it shows. It shows the median age of the residents of Old Bridge, New Jersey, and then it shows the median age of the for people in the state of New Jersey. So it's comparing the city against the state. Shows the estimated household income, which was $73,000 in 2000, and so they're estimating in 2017 it was $102,000. That's household income. And then it compares Old Bridge to the state of New Jersey. You can see that this town, the average household makes more money than the average person in the state of New Jersey. And then it shows per capita income and all kinds of things. What you're doing is you're wanting to get a feel for, if you're thinking about, do I want to target business, a business in the city? What are the people like? So you look at the median cost of a condo or a house, which is $355,000, and you compare that to the average cost of a house in New Jersey. It's more expensive in Old Bridge. You're looking at a lot of factors like that. You're looking at percentage of residents living in poverty, 3.4%, and it breaks it down by ethnicity. And it gives you a lot of data that, it maybe is relevant. It shows you composition of households, how many households are two or more races or whatever. And then it shows you crime rates, so this city, it shows you the number of murders per 100,000. So in 2018, it has 0. So that's a good thing, but it's over the past, since 2005, it's never gone above 2 murders per 100,000. So it's compared to the nationwide average, it's doing very well. And it shows, robberies and assaults and burglaries and car thefts and all those things. So you get a feel for, this is a pretty nice city when you look at it. The green here is the U.S. average for crime, and this is Old Bridge. So it shows you they've got about a third as much crime as the average, nationwide average, consistently. Actually, down here it's about a fourth as much crime as in the whole country. So it's a very safe place. Shows the number of police officers per 1,000 residents. And New Jersey has like twice as many police officers on average as Old Bridge does, which shows that, the people in that town feel safe, and they don't need a lot of police officers. And it gives you a bunch of other stuff. It shows you ethnicity, where they came from, percentage of people who are Italian, Irish, Jewish, whatever. I looked at that and it said, it gives you Italian, and then it says American. And I'm like, what's an American? And it goes Irish and Polish and Ukrainian and German, And so it's if you know a lot about if you're into ethnic groups, then you know that, people from certain countries have certain traditions and things like that. So and some have a reputation for working harder, for being more entrepreneurial and things like that. So that all tells you something about the population. And I like to look at that type of data. Let's go back to my slides though. Let's see, there we are. And I'll go back to slideshow mode. Okay, so we looked at a quick example of Old Bridge. That's the way I want you to, one of the ways I want you to examine data about a location that you're thinking about. And that's when you, if in the case where you have a lot of time to think about it. And the first method I'll show you tonight is one where you can basically pull up a whole bunch of potential domain names, and then you go back and you analyze them, and you say, well, I wonder what this city's like. Should I build a site that targets this one or that one? And this will help you to do that. You'll look at the data around the city, and Then, let's see, when you're looking at the domain name, you also want to look at what the potential domain name you're thinking about is worth. And for that, I use the GoDaddy appraisal tool. And let me show you that real quick. If you just Google GoDaddy appraisal tool, it's going to take you to, let's see, I'll go here, just GoDaddy appraisal tool. Connection's a little slow. I should have probably pulled these up before I started, but there we go. You'll go to this page, you'll see this form, and in some of my training, I talk about a site called Estabot. Estabot lets you get 2 appraisals for free a day. That's it. GoDaddy doesn't put a limit on the number of appraisals you can do. So you go here and you paste in whatever domain name you're considering, and GoDaddy tells you what they think the domain name is worth. So right here they say this domain name is worth $1,113. When I gave you guys that listing of domain names that I said were worth at least $1,000, I'd run all those through this, but I'd also run some of them through a person who is an expert at evaluating domain names. And over here it says why this is valuable, and it says it compares it to other domain names, and it said like Miss Real Estate Listings, MLS Real Estate Listings recently sold for $2,000. You know, so one that's got to do with HUD is worth so much. .com domain names are always given a higher value than all the other extensions, and the shorter the domain name, typically the better. So, but it also sometimes will tell you what the average keyword. It'll take an expression like Atlanta transmissions again, and it'll tell you what people bid for the different words. It'll parse that domain name and tell you what those words are worth, what people are bidding on the keywords. And it uses a bunch of other factors too in deciding what it thinks the domain name is worth. And right here it also suggests, well, here it shows you what comparable domains, what it thinks is comparable domains sold for recently, like HUD Home Auction sold for $1,000 recently, but then Idaho Foreclosure Search only sold for $100. You know, so it shows you those things. You can compare it, and you can say, like, mobile real estate listings sold for $1,600 recently. So you get a feel for, is this domain name really worth much, and why do they think it's worth something? And so I encourage you to, use this tool as you're looking at domain names. It's not everything. I mean, it's not the gospel, because a domain name is worth what someone's willing to pay for it, or what the owner of that domain name is willing to give up to keep it. So that's what a domain name is really worth. And if you were going to sell a domain name, then it's worth whatever you have the patience to take the time to find the right buyer, someone who really wants it, is willing to pay for it. Because you can sell it to anybody, and to some people it may be worth nothing or very little, and to other people it may be worth $100,000. So, but you got to take time to look for the right person. And it's the same with renting. You're going to make a list of potential tenants, and you're going to reach out to 5 to 10 people and wait to hear back from them. And you may get a bite right away, somebody who just loves that domain name because it's a perfect match. It matches their business name or their family name or whatever, and they're ready to jump on it. And at other times, it's not as easy. It's harder to find someone who is anxious to just grab that domain name. So we'll get into that, and you'll see. But that's how you use the GoDaddy evaluation tool, and that's a big part of how I start evaluating a name. Now, I have a lot of experience in buying and selling domain names. I've been doing it since 2009, And so I have a gut feeling a lot of times, and I trust my intuition. I don't know what this thing is doing. Well, it doesn't like me. Should we look at that one? I'm trying to go back into slide view mode, but it won't let me for some reason. So I'll stay in this mode for now. Okay, so we looked at that. Scrolling on down. Now we're going to look at a super easy way to generate hundreds, maybe even thousands of domain names and check their availability in a matter of minutes. Now, what you want is a keyword-rich domain name. That's, and again, we want exact matches if possible. And I like city plus niche, like Atlanta Transmission or Destin Cosmetic Surgeon, or something like that. Phoenix Contractor. Because when people type those words into a search engine, that's what they're looking for. Now, if you can't get Destin Cosmetic Surgeon, then maybe you'll use a modifier like Cosmetic Surgeon in Destin. That's not as desirable as Destin Cosmetic Surgeon, but or best Destin Cosmetic Surgeon or whatever. Sometimes you have to go with modifiers because the one you want isn't available, and you'll see that a lot when you're looking at purchasing existing domain names. You'll see that a lot of people went with whatever was available, or they started a business and somebody already owned the domain name they wanted, and so they settled for something less than what they wanted. And then often the person who bought the one they wanted goes out of business or lets it lapse, and it becomes available again. And we'll talk about that tonight too, because that's you can buy those domain names once they drop, and we'll talk about that. But I often get asked about competition and whether some markets are overcrowded and things like that. Looking at the way we can generate domain names, there are literally millions and millions and millions of possibilities of combinations of just a city and a niche, and so or cities and niches, the way we'll do it. And so you don't need to be so worried about the competition, because it's not a big deal. Okay, so I'm going to give you that list, and I already showed you how to find that list too, of the top 1,000 cities in the U.S. Okay, and last week we talked about super pages, where you can come up with a list of niches. I don't know how many of you went and looked at that, so why don't we go over there and take a look at it now. That's at superpages.com. And going back to my browser. That's not what I wanted. You go to superpages.com. The first time you go there, you need to register, and you click the join button and you join. And then after that, you can just sign in, and you can see down here it says sign in with Facebook. That's the way I normally sign in, but I think you have to be logged into Facebook, and I logged out. I'll see if it lets me anyway. I know I'll open Facebook back up because I want to show you that it is just faster. Okay, so now I have Facebook open, and if I go back to Super Pages, I guess it did log me in. You want to click the Browse button up here from the drop-down menu, and you can go to Popular Categories. And what this is like the Yellow Pages of online businesses. So you go popular categories, and right here it shows you all the different categories of businesses. You know, if you were looking at construction and contractors, it's got plumbers and construction and plumbing contractors and roofing and landscaping, lumber dealers, cable TV, concrete contractors and all that. And you can click the more button and it shows you even more contractors. And so you can browse here and you can say, well, I want to build a site that targets HVAC contractors or whatever, and it'll then pull up all the businesses that are in the directory in that category. But what I want you to do, though, basically is browse whatever category. Let's go back here to the over. You know, you could look under business professions. You could look under home and garden, construction, health, travel, industry and agriculture. It's, you know, you pick a broad category and then you drill down, and under all of them, you know, it's got automotive and government and art and entertainment and legal and food and restaurants and computers and electronics. So it's got every category of business you could imagine. So you just browse it, you know, and then when you find something that you think you want to drill down, and then you click on the more button and you can go several levels deep, you know, and find something that you want. You could start out with real estate or property management, apartments for rent or whatever, and then you drill down and you drill down, and so here it shows listings. Actually, and what it does is it reads, the site can read your IP address, and so it says apartments for rent near you because it knows where you are. So in this one, though, you can change the location if you want to search for a specific location, and that's helpful if you're like you wanted to build a directory of people that rent apartments or whatever. You would start here, and you could change the location in this window to whatever location you wanted. That's the way that works. It's a very useful site for compiling a list of different types of businesses. And what I want you to do is to focus on just 5 to 10 types of businesses initially, and the reason I'll ask you to do that is because what you're going to do is you're going to go to another site. You're putting together 2 lists now. 2 lists. You have a list of cities, and you have a list of niches, and you're going to go to another site. It's called domain hold, but I don't remember the hold URL, so I'm going to go back to my slides real quick. Okay, so you have your 2 lists, and now what you're going to do is you're going to go to another site and you're going to merge those 2 lists, okay? And the way you're going to do that is you're going to go to a site called Merge Words. It's Merge Words. Now, I gave you guys my slides if you visited the membership, not the membership site, the Facebook group recently. You have these slides, so you can just copy these URLs. That's part of the reason I gave it to you. Kathy asked me if she could have a copy of the slides, and so I just decided to give them to you. And probably I should have just given it to you in PDF, but I'll just give you the slides. So you can copy these right from the slides, and then you go over to the website of interest, and we'll do that. So back on the internet, and I still didn't do what I wanted. It's mergeword.com, I think. No, that's not it. Bear with me, please. Merge words. It's plural. So you go to mergewords.com, would help if I could spell. When you're doing these demos, it helps actually probably if you have the sites you're going to show. If you're only going to show a few already pulled up, okay. You go here and you would type, you would cut and paste that list of cities that you're interested in. You could put all 1,000 in here if you wanted to. I wouldn't. I would just take, I don't know, top however many, top 100, 200, 500. So you put those in the first box, and then in the second box, you would paste that list of niches that you put together after visiting the Yellow Pages site. So you've got this one plus this one, and then you click the merge button, and the merge button then gives you combinations. It takes all the cities and combines it with that first word, and all the cities combines with that second niche, and all the cities combines with that third niche. So it's going to give you a whole list of possible combinations of 2 or 3 words. The problem is that that combination of words. You know, if you had New York City, New York plus HVAC, New York plus HVAC. Well, HVAC is a very popular niche to target. It's heating and air conditioning and all that. You're actually going to get in your results down in a field down here, you're going to get a word that says, a suggested domain that says New space York space City. Well, you can't have spaces in a domain name. So what you do is you take all those suggested terms and you paste those into a text file, like a notepad file or whatever. And then you use the find and replace function. And what you're going to do is put your cursor in the box that says find, and you're going to space over one. You're telling it find a blank space in one of the words, and then you're going to put it in the second box, the replace box. You're going to put the cursor there, and you're not going to do it. Not going to space over anything. You tell it find the spaces in this phrase, and then replace it with nothing. So it closes that space up, and then you click select replace all from your drop down menu, and all of a sudden it scrunched those words up, and now you have a whole bunch of phrases, suggested phrases, and those are suggested domain names. And you're going to take that list, which is a text file, and you're going to go to another site. And I'm going to go back to my slide real quick. And so you're going to copy that list of possible combinations to Notepad, and you're going to take out the spaces, like I said. And that's what this slide says. And it just, when you read the slide, it will tell you what I just said about using the find and replace function. You know, it says use the find and replace function right here. Okay. And tells you then to take those words and go to a site called Domain Hole. Has a bunch of domaining tools. You're going to go to Domain Hole, and you're going to go to the bulk checker. So I'm going to copy this. Hopefully it will work this time. Domainhole.com/bulk checker. And let's look at that. If this thing will cooperate. What is it doing? Bear with me. Sharing. Okay, so you're going to go back to your browser, and you're going to go to, didn't copy it, what did I say, domainhole.com bulk checker. And that's going to put you here. This is domainhole.com bulk checker. You're going to take all of those phrases and you're going to paste them in this window where it says domains. And then over here, you're going to select what top level domain you want to check for. And we only care about the .com, which comes pre-checked. You know, if you wanted a list of, if you want to check the availability of domain names with the .net and .org, you could do that too. But you paste it in there, and then you go down here and you click check availability, and it will tell you if the .com version of any of those domains that you pasted in there is available. And at that point, you can take that, you can select from that list the ones that you think you want to purchase. You can register them here. They have a tool, and they're a registrar too, and like they're associated with GoDaddy. So they make it convenient. You can just check the availability and check the ones you want to register and register them right here. But I like to copy the ones that interest me into a text file, and then I like to go to my preferred registrar, which is Name Silo. You can tell I use it a lot. My browser is ready to pull it up. And you have an account. You can create a free account at Name Silo. It's free. And you go there with your list of domain names that you're interested in, checking to see if you're interested in buying them. So you're going to click on register, because that's what you're interested in doing. And then you could, if you only want to buy a single domain, you just paste it in this window here. If you have a list, like some days I'll have a list of 10 domain names or 15, then you click bulk, and you paste that in, and it'll put one domain name per line. And then when you click the search button, the next window will show you, yes, that domain name is available, and you can tick the box next to the ones you want and click purchase. And it'll take you to a checkout window. And at that checkout window, you select your payment method, which is, you pick which credit card you want to use, or PayPal, and you click checkout. Now, Name Silo charges $8.99 per registration. It gives you the fees here, but for the .coms, if you register less than 50, it's $8.99, and it drops by 10 cents if you register between 50 and 100 at a time. And so you don't get that much of a discount. I typically register 5 to 15 domain names a day, most days of the week. And you know, if you register 5,000 at a time, you get down to $8.39 per domain name. You know, and it shows you that some of them, the ones that aren't that popular, you could, like .club, you can register for $1.59 each. But who looks for .club unless you run a nightclub or something? And even then, probably nobody looks for it. You know. So anyway, that's what they charge. Now there are registrars like Namecheap and GoDaddy where you can at times buy domain names a lot cheaper. If you're only going to buy one, you could look for the coupon code. You could type in GoDaddy coupon code at a search engine and find the coupon code, and you can often buy a domain name for 99 cents or whatever. The thing with coupon codes is those coupon codes are typically only good to purchase one domain name. So if you want to sit there all day and set up a new account each time and then use a different coupon code for each domain name, you can do that. And you'll buy the domain name, you'll get your price. You won't pay $8.99 like I do, because I value my time more than some people. And I'm not going to sit there and create account after account after account where I can only register one domain name to use that coupon code. And then I have to have a new account to register another domain name. That's to me a big waste of time. So I don't do that. Okay, now that's the hard way of registering domain names. I showed you how to come up with a list of cities, which I'm going to give you, but I showed you where to find them. And then you're going to come up with a list of niches or professions, and I showed you how to do that. And then you're going to merge that list and take the spaces out. And then you're going to go check the availability of those domain names. And then the ones that you like, you are going to take over to your registrar and drop it in a box and click register. And you've registered the domain name, it's yours. Now in the registration process, after you click register and it shows you the ones that are still available, you tick those. The next window, it gives you a link where you can set your name server. You have to, if you click that link, you need to enter at least 2 name servers, you know, ns1 dot whatever and ns2 dash whatever. That's if you if you have hosting and you know your name servers, you can set that right at your registrar and set them all at once. I do that myself because I host a lot of domains at the same place. Okay. Now I'm going to show you a shortcut, and it still won't let me go to slide view, so I won't worry about it. I don't know what it's doing. But the shortcut is every day 100,000 domains are what we say are dropped. When somebody purchases a domain name and they for whatever reason don't renew it, the registrar holds on to it for a while, and they will keep sending you notices saying your domain name's expired, and if you within so many days go over to your registrar, they will let you renew it for whatever the standard price is. After that time frame, after I don't know 2 weeks or whatever, depending on the registrar, then you can still renew your domain name, but they charge you a premium. So maybe you were going to pay $10 to renew it, and now it's $70 to renew it, and they'll give you a certain time frame to renew it at the price plus a premium, and then even after that they hold it for a while, and after about I don't know 75 days, then they release it back to the general public. That's when we say they dropped the name. So every day, roughly 100,000 domain names that were not renewed for whatever reason are released back to the general public. And anyone who knows about that can buy these domain names. And there are sites that publish lists of these domain names. And when I first looked at this site I'm going to show you now, the site is called namejet.com. When I first looked at it, they allowed you to look at the list of, it allowed you to download, it still wants to do that. It allowed you to download, yeah. Okay. If you go to namejet.com, you're going to see this, and Namejet is an auction site. So they're going to show you hot picks, and they're going to show you last chance, which are domains that the auction's about to be over with, and then they're going to show you open auctions. But what I'm looking for is downloads. So you click on downloads, and it shows you pre-release domains. These are domain names that are going to drop soon, and you can actually reserve these domain names now if you want. You can take a look at the list and say I want that domain name and just go ahead and buy it. And so this is a list of pending deletes. These domain names are going to become available. If you download this list, this is a list of domain names that are scheduled to become available tomorrow. And you can bid on it now. The minimum bid is $79 per domain name. You can also back order the domain name, and they charge you a premium price for that. But you can do that. You can say, okay, I want to see the list of all the domain names that are going to be dropped on tomorrow. And the thing is, you have probably tens of thousands of people watching these lists and looking for that ideal domain name that they can buy for $9 and sell it for $10,000 because it's such a hot domain name. And so you have to be very, very fast when you're working with these lists. Now, one of the students told me that you can download today's list, but when I first visited the site, it wouldn't let you download today's list. It would let you download lists of previous days. So you could go back, 2 weeks and find out what domain names dropped there. And because not all of those 100,000 domain names are purchased. And so you could just look through that and then test to see if the one that you like is still available. And it might be, but the odds are it's not going to be. But, I would download Friday, Saturday, Sunday maybe, and then you can look through the list. But we're talking a list of 100,000 domain names. Now, there are software tools that will let you filter through these lists more efficiently. And I can share with you a couple of those inside the Facebook group. But I have like 5 or 6 of those tools on my computer. You basically take this list of 100,000 names and you say, I don't want any domain name with numbers. I want domain names with these keywords in them. And that tool will sift through the list of 100,000 and show you the ones with that keyword in it or whatever. Those tools are available for free. And I'll share some of those tools with you. But I do it the easy way, which is my mentor, Gene Pimentel, publishes a list. He I don't know how he does it, but he every day comes out with a list. Out of that 100,000 domain names, he comes out with a list of around 300 that he says are the most valuable. And he uses some formula. I don't know what his formula is, but he publishes 4 or 5 times a week a list, and he calls his service Name Snagger, and he charges $5 per month for a subscription, and every 4 or 5 times a week, not every day, subscribers get a list from him, and he's saying based on statistical averages, these domain names, based on some formula he uses, these domain names are the ones that I think are the best domain names. And you can go to williecrawford.org/namesnagger, and it's case sensitive, and that's just a redirect code that I set up. In fact, I'll take you there and show you Gene's site real quick. So it's williecrawford.org. williecrawford.org/namesnagger. And that's going to take you to Gene's site right here. And he offers you his subscription for $5 a month. And he explains, the different types of names that are in there that he thinks are very valuable, like brandable domain names and local business names, novelty names, high search volume domain names, 1-word and 2-word domain names are always hot. He basically tells you how he comes up with the list. And yeah, he says here, you will receive my private NameSnagger top 1% domain list at least 3 times a week. He's been putting out about 5 times a week lately. And every day I look for it. But so you can check that out. And these are happy customers of his. He also has a private Facebook group. See if I can find that real quick. If you type in name snagger in the search bar. It should show it there. This is Gene, and this is his name snagger group. And every day he goes to his group and he posts a teaser that says, these are some of the names on today's list. This is from, he posted this 10 hours ago. What he does is he sends a subscription out to the people who paid the $5, and then an hour or so later, he posts just 10 or whatever names from the list and says, these are some samples from the list. And then he says, if you purchase one of those, please let us know. And that's so other people won't be trying to get that name, and like today's list, the ones that he put up, posted as teasers, lose belly fat naturally is one that I grabbed. But things like ugly baby contest and all those things, anything you can imagine, that these were ones that he thought were going to be hot, and I could see some of them being hot, like attorney Roanoke. That's a perfect one for a rank and rent site. Bath kitchen and remodeling, somebody look for a bath kitchen. Capital City Loan, especially somebody in say like DC. I think Capital Loan would be better, but a loan company. So you as you look at these domain names, you have to ask yourself, first of all, what would I use it for? And this is the bigger group, but you can join this group for free. These and members just he's got how many members? My bar's in the way. I think he has like 700 members or something like that. And every day they go there, and his real purpose in putting this group out there and letting people join for free is he shares a sample from his list, and he's hoping that will entice you to become a subscriber. That's his real purpose in this group. And so he doesn't give advice on domaining and things like that, but other people, members of the group, will share, I bought this because I'm going to use it for that or whatever. So you do pick up some tips there, and you can, like yesterday at 8:04, he gave people in the group a heads up. He said at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern, I'm going to send the list to subscribers. And at 10 o'clock yesterday, I could look in my inbox and the list was there. And then I quickly opened the spreadsheet that the list was in. See if I can find that real quick. Let's see. Pay no attention to how much email I have. Slider. I don't see. I was going to show you an issue of the list, but what this shows is how many domain names I sell on a typical day. I think I sold like 50 or 60 domain names today. But you got an Excel spreadsheet that has his picks for that day, and what I do is I run down that spreadsheet and I copy and paste the ones that interest me into a text file, and after I run down all 300 plus names, I go back over to name silo and I paste those domain names into that big field that I showed you, and I click register, and it confirms which ones are still available, because there's lots of subscribers who receive that same list, and so lots of people beat me to the punch and register those domain names that I want, that are perfect for, the ones that are lawyers and chiropractors and contractors and heating and air conditioning and all those that are perfect for what I'm doing. But if you're not fast, by the time you get around to trying to register it, the names are gone. So, and people go back into the group and brag about the fact that they uh, managed to grab one. So again, I take the desired names that I find on that spreadsheet that Gene sends me every day, and I go over to Name Silo, and this is just a shortcut to Name Silo, and I paste those in, and I pick the ones I want, and with that, I've purchased the domain names, and so I've taken you through today how to come up with your own list of domain names by coming up with a list of niches and a list of cities and merging them in different combinations, different possible combinations, and then checking on the availability of those through domain whole, and then you go to your registrar and register ones of interest to you. Or you can find a list of previously registered domain names, and the advantage to that, and the reason I like those is because those domain names, if they were just recently dropped, they're probably still indexed in the search engines, and if they're still indexed in the search engines, they're still getting clicks. People are getting clicks to sites that weren't renewed, and they're getting, whatever page the registrar throws up there until the registrar drops that domain name and makes it available to others. And even then, something often will show up when someone searches on that domain name or finds that domain name in the search engine. So you can buy one of these domain names and point it at whatever and start getting traffic right away because it's getting clicks from the search engine. It's probably still indexed in the search engines. And so that's why one of the ways I use those domain names, or I'll purchase one and I'll point it to an affiliate product. So we've looked at that. We've looked at how to register a domain name, and now you have it. Next week, we're going to look at building a website on that domain name and beginning to rank it. And so we'll look at the different styles of websites. And again, I like to start with templates. And so we'll look at the different types of templates. And again, some of you don't want to do the boring techie task. And so we'll look at outsourcing. And I will have checklists. I do have checklists that you can give to your outsourcers. Again, they're independent contractors, so you don't have to worry about taxes and provide them with all kinds of benefits. And we'll look at the pitfalls and best practices of outsourcing. And I will tell you now where I host my domain name, and I'll make a video on that later because I need people in several spaces have asked me about that. I host with a guy who calls himself the Unselfish Marketer. And he has a membership site called the Unselfish Marketer. And the reason he calls himself that is because he gives away so much value at his membership site that it's like ridiculous. He has all kinds of things from resale rights products to free coaching to autoresponders to and a membership allows you to host up to 999 domains on one account for $47 a month. And he offers a lifetime membership that basically gets it down to a lifetime membership, which for the same account that lets you host the 999 domain names, costs you $19.97. So if you were to put 1,000 domains, which I just round up to 1,000, then you're basically paying $2 per domain for lifetime hosting, and basically when I look at that, it's like, so it's not costing me anything really, $2 per domain. So I have the lifetime membership. You can read about it on the website, and I encourage you to. You'd go to williecrawford.org/unselfish and make the U in unselfish uppercase. Just read on that page what you get in this membership. I've been a member there for about 7 years, and he's got members who've been there 10 years. And every other day, he adds new products to the site. What he does is people will watch, especially in the internet market space, they'll watch a launch, and they'll go to him, the owner, his name's JK, and they'll say, can you buy some memberships, or can you buy a license to give your members this product? So you'll watch somebody like Alex Jeffries or whoever, Russell Brunson, or whoever come out with an inexpensive product usually, and they'll go to him and say, can you buy that for your members? And he'll go to the product owner and say, can I buy a license to give this to my members? And they'll either say yes or no. And then every other day he adds new products. So when I see a product being launched in the internet marketing space in particular, I go to his site first to see if it's there, and very often it is there, or it's there a couple of days after the launch. And so I buy very few products. It went back to the top. Instead, I go to the Unselfish Marketer, which again is at williecrawford.org/unselfish. Check it out. And your homework for this week is not much homework. I want you to get at least one domain name and find hosting for it. And I would like you to review sessions 1 and 2. And session 1 is inside the private group on Facebook, and session 2 will be there tomorrow. And so you can review those as often as you want. Actually, the slides from both are there now, so you could go and get those, and you then have all of the links, the domains handy that I mentioned in both lessons, both days. And then ask me any lingering questions using Facebook Messenger or email. You can email me, willie@williecrawford.org. That's willie@williecrawford.org. And with that, I want to see if there are any questions. Let's see. Somebody says, can we do session 3 now? No, we can't do session 3 now. But I will have the, I'll post the slides within a day or two. I'll make a point of doing that. So I'll do that. A lot of comments. See, Gary said I sent an email asking for a list of domains and to be added to the group. I'll take care of that. And Jill says, just kidding, so I have to see what she's kidding about. Kathy says, are we supposed to start doing the domain hosting stuff or just get it? Hosting is just getting a hosting account at whatever hosting company you want, and there's not a huge difference. Again, I host with the Unselfish Marketer. He has some of the best servers in the world. I mean, they've got like redundant CPUs, like I think it's like 6 or 8 CPUs. Those things never crash. I've been with them for 7 years, and I've never had a problem with any of them. You could go with whoever you want. I have friends who use GoDaddy. I don't like GoDaddy. First of all, when they are constantly trying to upsell you on things, and if you use them as a registrar, you can not use them as a registrar. You can get anybody you want as a registrar. You can use anybody you want as a hosting company. You can register with one company, like one place like Name Silo, and then point it to a server and somebody else's hosting company. You can do that. Yeah, go ahead and buy at least, well, you can buy or you can use the one that you got from me and point it to wherever you plan on hosting it. Again, I use the Unselfish Marketer, but you can use, I don't know, wherever you want, Bluehost. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of web hosting companies in there. There's not a huge difference, except that the ones that are really, really, really inexpensive can't afford to, they don't make enough money, don't charge enough to have a lot of tech support, so some of them will have like a discussion group or something like that. Others will tell you that you have so much disk space, but they pack so many accounts on one server that if you dare try to use all the disk space they promised you as a part of your account, they'll ask you to either buy a bigger hosting account or move someplace else. And so, you know, be careful there. But yeah, go ahead and then get hosting. And if the domain name that you already have is not the one that you're going to do the rank and rent on, then you need to find one that you're going to do that with. Kevin asked, do some registrars buy the names that you check? Yes. The registrars, some of them are watching the list of domains that drop, and some registrars purchase those domains as soon as they drop and list those domains in their auctions. And so maybe like GoDaddy would be monitoring a list and see some domain names that look really enticing, and as soon as they drop at another registrar maybe, then they might buy those, and then when you go and check it, it'll tell you that domain name is for sale, and you look and you'll see that GoDaddy owns it. I'm looking at the questions. Somebody's asking, instead of renting a domain name, can you place a link to a product and get commission for it? Yeah, you can do that. You can find one that is ideal for selling. I do that all the time. I'll point it at a product on Amazon or ClickBank or whatever. Not even bother to set up a formal site. Just repoint the domain name at the affiliate URL and make sales from that. There you're going to get the type-in traffic. Somebody says, your pricing model to rent based on searches per month? No, I base it on what I think the renter can charge. So if I'm going after a cosmetic surgeon that's going to charge somebody, I don't know, $3,000 or $5,000 for major cosmetic surgery, well, they can afford to pay more, and each patient's worth more. So I may charge them over $1,000 a month to rent a domain name, because if they get just one new patient a week from that domain name, they're typically happy. They can only work on so many patients a week, you know. But then again, if it's like a mom and pop bakery or whatever, or a florist, they may not be making that much money. And if it's somebody in a small town that's very impoverished, the average person in that town doesn't have a lot of money, so they can't afford to pay a lot. So the merchant can't afford to charge a lot, so they can't afford to pay a lot of rent. So I sort of charge what I think they can afford to pay. And somebody saying, hope I'm doing okay after all the storm I've been through. Yes, I am doing great. I'm trying to Dave was asking if I can recommend a course on using ClickBank products. I can look and see what I have in my archives and maybe give you one. Yeah. See. Do you put an address on the rented site? And there's the address of the place. Typically, most businesses would want their address. You can use all kinds of widgets if you're like using WordPress or whatever. You could place maps on the site. You can place their phone number with a click to dial. You can do all that stuff. You can track. You can let the renter track where his traffic is coming from by putting a unique phone number on the site. That unique phone number forwards to the business, but they can see where it's coming from. So you can make it so you can set things up so that the business knows that the traffic is coming from your efforts, and they know they're not wasting their money, basically. I mean, that's what's going to make them stick with you, is you showing them that you're more cost effective than AdWords or Facebook pay-per-click or whatever, and you are, you know, if you set your site up right. So see. Kathy says, thanks for telling about Unselfish. Yeah, I know the owner of the site quite well. And he's very responsive. He's a Facebook friend, and I can just email him directly, and ask them anything I want. So, and somebody told me that to try the slideshow option on the menu bar. I didn't see that. So I'll play with it some. See. And William shared a couple of URLs. George says that Estabout appraisals is quite less than GoDaddy. You can go to a number of sites that will give you free appraisals, or that you can subscribe and they'll charge you for the appraisals, and they all give slightly different estimates based on their algorithm, you know. So you take it with a grain of salt. You know, again, a site is worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it. And somebody says that William says, don't assume I like SEO. It's you're going after the free traffic rather than paying for it. So you want to be at the top of the search engines. And Google's still #1 search engine in the world. YouTube is the #2 search engine in the world. Google owns YouTube, but if you get a high ranking in either of those, you're gonna get a lot of traffic if you target the right keywords. I'm not seeing any other questions. If I did not answer your questions, feel free to send me a private message or an email, and I will answer them for you privately, unless it's something that you think the whole group would benefit from. Then you can feel free to post it in the group. And while I'm on the topic of that group, it's your group. I don't want it to feel like one of those groups where you're afraid to post something because you might say the wrong thing. I don't want you to attack each other or to attack me, but like I encourage you to post domain names that you have for sale. You're not going to try to rent them to each other, because we're all in the business of renting domain names. But some of you might have one that you can't rent for whatever reason because you don't understand the niche. You don't understand how the people in that niche think. Maybe somebody else in the group works with chiropractors or contractors or tree trimmers or whatever all the time. So they speak their language, and it's easier for them to rent to somebody in that space. So if you have a domain name that you want to sell, don't try to sell it for, a huge profit, because you're probably not going to get that out of members of this group. When I've just showed them you can actually buy a domain name for less than $9 through Name Silo, and once you find one that's available, so it's reasonable to want to make a profit off of it. But one of the members suggested that we have just one place where you post a link to a page on your site where you list your domains for sale. So you're not constantly just putting new listings inside our group. Instead, you're and he suggested a spreadsheet, maybe on Google Docs or something, where you just post, here's a link to my page on my site or my domain where I list all the for sale sites that I have. And I've done that. I shared that in the group actually today. I have one page that I have like 400 domain names that I want to unload because I bought them for different reasons. Some for projects, and others just because I thought I could resell them. Like right now, dieting is a hot niche, so I have a lot of domain names in the weight loss niche, for example, and health issues. They're always hot. I mean, we're in worse shape now than we've been in 100 years, and even with all the technology, we're overweight and have high blood pressure and heart problems and all kinds of problems due to the pollution and poisons in the environment mainly. And so we have a health epidemic in this country, not just a pandemic. And so that's a hot niche, just to buy domain names and sell them or rent them or point them to affiliate products in the affiliate networks. And we'll discuss that later on in the training. With that, I'm thinking we should go ahead and wrap it up, and we'll be here next Thursday, same time, 8 to 9 Eastern, and with time at the end for questions. But if you have any questions that come up between now and then, again, feel free to reach out to me. I don't mind you asking questions, as long as, I've showed you what I have planned, what I plan on covering. So don't ask questions that are dig too deep into topics that I already have flowed out to cover, and I already have rough slides. All my slides aren't. I feel free to massage my slides between now and when I use them. That's one of the reasons I don't give you the slides too far in advance, because I go through and read them. And if you've ever watched a platform speaker or seminar or conference, you'll see some of them in the back of the room reading through their slides and making tiny changes, half an hour before they get on stage. It's just the way we are. And so I read through my slides, and I may make notes to myself. And I was thinking, again, it's better to give you my slides in a PDF, because then I can actually put supplemental notes in the PDF that I don't want to put on the slide and garbage it up, because a slide is really intended to keep me or a speaker on topic and on course. It's not really designed for you to sit there and read every word. And so I'll have just the bullets on the slides, basically. But if I put the slides, my thinking in a PDF, then I can add peripheral thought too. So I'm thinking I should do that. It's probably better than giving you the slide deck every week. So I'll do that, because I start putting together slides from notes, and then I just pick out the bullets that are going to trigger what I'm thinking. And so I can leave everything I was thinking in the notes and get that to you, instead of giving you a PowerPoint, because not all of you have PowerPoint on your computers anyway. So with that, why don't we go ahead and wrap it up, and I'll see you guys in the group. I thank you for being a part of this training, and I hope you will let me know if I'm not covering things that you'd like covered, or if you have questions or something in particular that you'd like covered. Steve asked if I'm going to go over Google My Business, for example. When I talk about back-end products and services, I think I will cover that there. And so feel free to suggest things like that. And I'm getting a lot of questions about how much do different people charge for different types of services. Do I have, Larry asked if I had an idea about how much somebody charges per month for home advisory. I don't, but I would Google the term and find someone who offers that service, go to their website and see what their prices are posted on the website. That will give you a feeling for what they charge. And there's all kinds of services out there, like reputation management. That could be a good back-end product. You could even offer blogging for somebody, or I have friends who blog for businesses or make posts to social media for businesses and things like that. So there's a lot of back-end services you can offer, and we'll talk about some of those as we continue to go through there. And Gary says I have to go back to work. I think Gary is planting seeds right now out on his farm. So okay, I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much for